Inspiration is everywhere if you're looking for it. The first few times I wrote songs, I really brute forced the experience. I didn't know what to do, so I pulled up a chart in a particular key, and I tried to use the chords in that key to make a song that expressed an idea, something I was feeling. This was about 10 years ago. Back then, writing a song was really hard. I might sit for 4 hours and agonize over chord structure, and I would still hate it. I would vacillate between being extremely proud of myself and being disgusted with what I just wrote. People always told me I was doing too much, trying too hard, thinking too much, forcing it too much. And I had no idea what they meant because I didn't know any other way to be. If I didn't force it, no song would come out. And most of these people giving me this advice had been writing music since they were kids. So maybe it was just different for them. What did they know that I didn't know? How could I do it the way they were doing it if I had never done it that way before? And so I set out to solve this problem like I solved all the other problems in my life. Read about it. Read a bunch of books. How are other people writing songs? I stumbled upon a strategy while watching an interview of one of my favorite artists. She and her friends would have an extreme songwriting day where they would just spend hours writing songs. So I read about this strategy, and the idea was if you push yourself to write music for as long as possible, 12 hours even, eventually a song might slip out effortlessly. And so that's what I did. But how was I going to find things to continue to write songs about for 10, 12 hours? The idea was you're not supposed to think about it. And if you did come up short on inspiration, the idea was you would set yourself up beforehand to have things to capture your attention and make your own inspiration during the time you were spending writing. The idea was to avoid writer's block at all costs by writing anything. Anything in front of you would serve to be inspiration. You could look up a random YouTube video. You could crack open a book in front of you. You could listen to people walking by on the street having conversations. Anything could serve to be lyric fodder. Anything could serve as a soundscape that would be a melodic motif. Anything could be your inspiration. 10 or 12 years later, I still feel like an absolute beginner in the songwriting game in like every sense of the word. But thanks to these crazy extreme songwriting sessions, I don't have to brute force it anymore. The cool thing about this game is if you sit around writing music for long enough until you feel maybe a little bit insane, your brain will flip over into flow state, and sometimes a song will just slip out and surprise you. Maybe something you hadn't intended to say, or something that was lingering in your unconscious for years will just fall out of you, and it won't be that hard. Now, I used to be a therapist, and every single square inch of my problem-solving ability used to go toward my career. So this made inspiration really difficult. I started reading about singer-songwriters, musicians, people I really liked, to see what their strategies were. I read that Tom Waits used to listen and eavesdrop in his environment to conversations around him. He used to self-impose poverty on himself so that the characters he would be around would be really unusual. Some of the members of Imperial Triumphant used to live in an apartment right next to a subway, and this kind of cacophony of sound affected how they wrote songs as well. No matter people's circumstances, they found a way to utilize whatever was going on in their environment to inspire them to make something unique. Back when I was in college and we were making demos of our songs, we lived right near the Air Force Base, and there were a lot of times where jets would ruin our takes. It was so frustrating. But I realized that from these stories of artists I love that had been in extreme situations, anything in your surroundings can become inspiration, no matter how annoying. You can choose to be upset by your circumstances, or you can figure out how to use it to make something really cool. I'm not working with much. I just have an acoustic guitar and time, really. But I am lucky enough to be surrounded by situations and characters that provide me a constant flow of inspiration. The adventure continues to twist and turn like a river, and I have no idea what's coming next. Except maybe a few more songs.